Hello, loves. I am Stasha, the period coach here, and I am back for rituals and ovulation today. We are going to go through the six senses in flow, and I just want to take a minute to remind you you can still win the book, a digital copy. You have to go to the menstruation, ritual in menstruation episode and comment on that guy, and you get entered to win a digital copy of my book, which I'll be reading out of today for our ovulation ritual masterclass for the day, or under 10-minute class. So ovulation is that peak time. It's your highest yang, the opposite of yin, exhibitionist. You've got just all of this extroverted energy. It's a high energy phase. This is because all of those estrogens and testosterone hormones are peaking right now. So you've got this great peak at this moment, and oftentimes we feel like, isn't this how it should always be? Should I always be in this crazy, awesome summer groovy phase? Well, the only problem is that if we had summer forever, we would have just endless desert. We need the fall, we need the winter, we need the rain, we need the hibernation. And just like any other part of nature, we need that time too as human beings. We are, one with Mom and Earth, or at least we're supposed to be. So one of the things is that this phase can get out of balance, but you don't notice it because it's the highest reward time. The outside external patriarchal reward system is very encouraging of this phase of our cycle. It's your peak fertility. As a woman, your worth is valued on your fertility, so you have the most value during this phase. It's gross, but it's true, and something that we need to change so that it doesn't stay true. But we do get out of balance, and some of the things that you want to look for in this phase to see that you are in balance, and this is why we need ritual, not routine, right? Routine, mindlessness, just doing it out of habit. Ritual, mindfulness, awareness, taking an assessment of what's really happening in the body. So it's characterized by that aggressive Huntress feeling where you're anxious, insomnia, restlessness. It's very much focused and pushing through. We could feel bland, we could feel cold, we could feel over emotionless or completely full of emotion, but there's an extreme to it. I had a counselor in college that thought I was bipolar, and it wasn't bipolar. It was my hormones going too high and too low throughout my cycle, exacerbated by endometriosis, I'm sure. So my highs were really high, my lows were low, and it looked like a manic depressive bipolar, not a lot of words for it in the late 90s. But it can look just like out of whack. So if you're feeling like you get to your ovulation phase each month and you're feeling either really blue, just bummed energy, or you're feeling manic, like really overly aggressive energy, you're going to want to look into, are your hormones out of balance? Are your highs getting too high? You may see your lows feeling too low to compensate for that, because we can't run on gas pedal to the floor all the time. We run out. So you would notice after a while, but you might not realize that you could stop it early, you could get control. And we see PMS, but we don't often look at our ovulation phase and see if the high is as high. So just be aware of it. And, we don't think of high energy as a bad thing, and I don't want it to be a bad thing, but too much of anything is a bad thing, you know what I mean? It's like, you got to have some reasonable standards here. People can abuse anything. People can abuse meditation. So keep this in mind. So as we're going through this phase, use your senses so that you can really see what's going on in your body. We'll start with taste. This is your fire phase, remember, and fire is associated with bitter. So think about those bitter foods, those bitter greens, the arugulas, the rocket, whatever you call it in your country, dandelion, watercress, things like that. But those nice bitter dark greens. Raspberries, rhubarb, strawberries, tomatoes, fire, heart is associated with this phase of the cycle. So you're looking at heart-shaped food as well. Black pepper, cayenne, hot chilies, all of those spices. It's the fire element this round, so spicy is part of our deal here. But also red protein sources, so red meat, red vegetables, red legumes, red beans, red rice, red quinoa, lamb, beef, liver, those kinds of things. This is the phase right before we need a lot of minerals to turn our follicular space into a corpus luteum. In the luteal phase, it takes a lot of minerals to do that. So the liver is really one of the best sources you can get of zinc and iron and all of these just deep minerals that we need desperately and don't get anymore. Once upon a time, it was saved for menstruating women, because we needed that extra mineral to have healthy babies, healthy children, healthy eggs, right? So we knew that once upon a time we really needed that influx of minerals. Brazil nuts, cashews, legumes, oysters, superfood for women. I wouldn't say that this is the only time you can have oysters, but I definitely would say, get a couple in during this phase and really help your body prepare for your luteal phase that's coming next. And then, of course, fire cooking things. So in the last phase, follicular, we talked about wood, and so a lot of everything was cooking with flame in that wood way, and that carries on in this phase, much like the foods carry on into this phase. We're looking more like condiments and spicing things up. But you're also looking at things like flambeing and stir-frying and sauteing. Toasting and dehydrating would also be considered fire cooking foods. It's slow, but it's slow heat. And deep frying, just make sure you use good coconut or avocado or some kind of oil that can take a high heat without getting rancid or smoking or turning crazy weird. I believe sesame seed oil is another really good one for that. Okay, you don't want to fry in olive oil, right? Because it's got a really low smoke point and it's just not good for you. So, smell. We talked about grapefruit and follicular. The citrus phases in follicular, you want to keep those going, but add things like a little black pepper, like making a room spray in follicular that's got some good citruses, and then adding a little bit of black pepper oil is actually really quite nice and invigorating. Or add a little pepper to your food and don't inhale, obviously sneezing, but enjoy that flavor. Cypress, cinnamon, and patchouli are all oils during this phase, or smells during this phase, that are recommended to enjoy. Spice as well or cinnamon as well for ingesting, add it to tea or hot chocolate or something. Touch and movement sense. So this is where you really want to go for a deep tissue massage or a sports therapy massage or something really intense and deep. Have a little rougher sex, have that quickie with yourself or others, whatever. Have fun, expand your pleasure container. So if you didn't watch the follicular phase episode, go back and watch it, because I talk about pleasure and expanding container and using it so that you can move into luteal powerfully in pleasure, even more so during this phase. So take that up another notch here. Try the harder classes, go for the boot camp or the adventure course or the trapeze or something just fun, and go for it during this phase. Sight and sound. This is your action movie time, dancing in the club time, party time. Schedule parties, go to parties, enjoy them. RSVP yes to things during this phase of your cycle. Take the family out to the park and play football time, whatever it is for you. Go have fun, do those things. If you've got presentations, do it during this time. Hard conversations you may have to have, do it during this time. Launching a new offer, do your sales video during this time. So you've got all of these things that you can do when you're in this key peak phase. And for your spirit, it is your due phase. So go look at your bucket list. What do you want to check off? What does your wild woman want? What is your soul crawling for, your craving? Follow your bliss. And I'm saying this, remember, you expand your pleasure container. So go find out what you really want and then go get it during this phase. All right? All right, I'll see you back here for early luteal in ritual, and then we'll go into deep luteal in ritual, and then I'll wrap up our ritual week. Mwah! I'll see you guys in the next one.